Next will be Christy Haslett, who will talk about state guidelines for bikeway design.
Hi, I'm S.A. Christy Haslett, taxpayer, so that's one of my major concerns. I'm trying to be manufactural and not emotional with this issue. I've taken most of my information from the Mass Highway Department publication about shared use paths. And I know we keep saying bike paths, but there's actually a shared use path that I believe they're proposing. One of the things with a shared use, I think in some ways it would be easier if it was just a bike path, but this is a shared use path, and that immediately promotes conflict because you've got, I don't want to repeat what other people have said, but even in the Mass Highway Department literature, they do state that one of the major concerns with a shared use path is the conflict between walkers, bikers, inline skaters, actually equestrian, that's basically non-motorized. So horses can also go there. It's a two-way shared path as well, so you've got people going both directions, not just all going one way. So that's one of the main issues, excuse me. So yeah, that's the conflict issue. All paths, this is taken from their paperwork, all paths need to provide a firm, stable, slip-resistant surface in a wide variety of use and weather conditions. Unpaved materials are not suitable for inline skaters or bicyclists who drive at high speeds. I also updated that probably to inexperienced bikers. We do have a picture over there which I just happened to notice while I was sitting there, which looks beautiful, but that's a very different situation to Chappy. It's going through a meadow, there aren't trees. You know, when they constructed that bike path, oh sorry, maybe, I don't know if everyone can see. Roger, could you hold that up? I know it's not our material, but it looks beautiful, and you know, I think all of us look at that and say, wow, that, you know, looks nice, but it's not beside a road. You don't have the same issues, thank you, Roger, as we have here on Chappy. So I think, quite frankly, an unpaved path would not be practical for what the CPC is proposing. I would prefer it if it was going to happen, but I don't think that it's just viable. Going back to material from the state, they recommend a 10-foot path for a two-way minimum. They've actually, for a 12-foot path, you can have an 8-foot path with variances. Now that's the actual path, the paved path. You then have 2 feet shoulder each side, graded. Thank you, Roger. You have to have a minimum 5-foot buffer from the actual roadway where vehicles are traveling. And you, on the other side, away from the road, the minimum of a 3-foot visibility. So that when people are biking, they can see if they're going around the corner. So we're looking up to 20 feet now, you know, just those numbers, and this is minimums, you know, and that's based on the 8-foot if we've got a variance, or people there with a variance. So, you know, it's not just a little narrow path going through the woods here, we're talking about a 20-foot from the edge of the road now, 20 feet in to the vegetation. And that doesn't include the fact that it has been covered before of grading. You know, the state does mandate, you know, grades, so it can't be, like this right out here where it's quite a, you know, from the road up to the Chappy Community Centre, it's not a dip, it's the other way, so that would all have to be cut into. I mean, there's a lot involved, and I think if you seriously look at it, it's very invasive, very, very invasive. I've talked about the width, but also the height. They recommend 10 feet in height, and there's a question, so maintenance vehicles can go down there. Maintenance vehicles need to get down there to repair, to snow removal, clean, whatever they need to do. And for equestrian use, 12 feet. So I don't know, you'll be using horses maybe. So above above those 10 feet minimum. Pretty much that is it. I'm just trying to stay with the facts and not repeat. One of the things that they talk about is root barriers, which is a cost issue. When it's in a place where they're removing a lot of trees, or they remove up to trees, they require that all these barriers that they put down so the root doesn't intrude into the path, because that becomes a dangerous situation. I'm sure you've biked around where you've got big lumps because the asphalt has cracked because roots are intruding. And it's just a lot of stuff when you really start to look at it. And this is all, as I said, state. Maybe it doesn't end up being done by the state, but I really would, if I would recommend you look hard. If anyone's interested, I can give you links to look at that stuff, and I've only touched the surface. There's just so much stuff. So, thank you.